Ittoki was a sad, disgusting, worthless, lonely loser who was born into a family of ninja clans, yet had no skills of his own. But one day, after narrowly escaping an attempt to end his life, he discovered that he was the heir to the greatest ninja clan in the world, giving him overpowered abilities to survive the ninja wars. When he was in class, Ittoki saw a flashing light at his window and thought a ninja was spying on him, because after every school day, a mysterious girl called Kusetsu would follow him around and would never let him out of her sight. However, Ittoki decided to start running away from her and began parkouring around town. But when Truck-kun came to send him to an isekai, Ittoki destroyed all laws of anime and backflipped over Truck-kun to save his life. The following morning at his locker, he found a love letter inside, and for the rest of the day, he continued thinking about the letter. By the time school was over, he met the girl and she introduced herself as Satomi. However, she told him that she'd been spying on him and saw how manly he looked back flipping over the truck, so she begged him to come over to her home. By the time he got there, Ittoki thought something was off about a girl wanting his ugly ass, but Satomi walked into the room, and before saying anything, she began taking off her clothes. As she forced him to lay down, Ittoki thought he would finally develop plot. But as she was about to go in for a kiss, Ittoki yeeted her away and told her that he wasn't mentally prepared about 69. He thought that this might be a prank, and a cameraman must be hiding somewhere, so he checked under the bed to see an assassin hiding there, and got his face slashed by Sato. As she and her assassins were about to finish him off, Kosu came to her rescue and threw him out of the room. Raiha then took him to a car, and he was surprised to see her and Kozo dressed in Shinobi outfits. Suddenly a car came in front of them, so Kozo told the others to fasten their seatbelts. Their car crashed when the car ahead laid spikes on their way, and after waking him, Raiha told Ittoki to return to the city while they would fight off the assassins. He eventually reached an empty road and got scared when a random power cut happened. A police officer came asking what he was doing alone on an empty road, so he told him everything that happened to him. And when Ittoki was about to ask him about the way to the city, an assassin came and sliced the officer's throat, while another one punched him to the wall. Seeing the dead officer brought tears to his eyes, but his luck hadn't ran out, as his cool as f*** level 69 Riz Lord Uncle, who should have been the main protagonist, came to his rescue and revealed that the officer was part of the assassins. He instantly teleported to check on Ittoki, and when the assassins chased him, he defeated them in an instant. Ittoki later woke up in Kosu's lap, and his uncle told him to go to their family home. Arriving there, he saw everyone sitting there waiting for the chief to arrive, and the chief turned out to be his mother Yumi. She told him that they were Shinobi of the Iga village, and their daily life was merely a face they showed to the world. The Shinobis, who came into being a few hundred years ago, were living peacefully in a handful of villages around the country in disguise to blend with the society. They had to follow strict rules to prevent quarrels between the villages. There was a balance for the past few decades until the Koga village decided to upset it. The Koga ninjas wielded the most power out of any village, and with their modern ninjutsu and tremendous wealth, they were scheming to take over the Iga village, and the girl he went on a date with was a part of them. The reason that they were after his life was because he was the 19th Iga Ninja Village successor, and the reason Yumi was strict with him throughout his life was because he would eventually become a ninja. Ittoki felt like he couldn't become a ninja, but Yumi knew that he already possessed the basic skills of a ninja, and he had to become one to protect himself from Koga. Even Kozo tried to persuade him by saying that Koga even had the police in their hands, and the only people he could trust were from this village. However, he still couldn't come up with an answer, so Takasada took him away for the time being, and told him that his only options were to become a ninja or die. All of this made no sense to him, as he was just living his life as a normal human being, so Takasada gave him a third option, and offered to help him escape until the heat died down. This order came from Yumi, as she knew that all of this was unfair to him, so she thought about at least giving him a choice. Takasada revealed that his father was the previous village chief, but he passed away when Ittoki was just a child, so Yumi stepped into the role herself despite not being a ninja. He was probably going through a lot at the moment, but it didn't even come close to the heavy pressure that Yumi faced alone by shouldering all the responsibilities and duties by herself. For the last time, he asked what he wanted to do, and instead of saying anything, Ittoki decided to cry like a little girl who thinks that they could get out of anything just by crying. At the Koga headquarters, Ban asked Inbai if he was the one who staged this attack on the Iga village, as it was half-thought, and told him that the NSC had already caught wind of it. As the two continued arguing, Kaido told them to calm down, and recommended them to could choke the life out of Iga village slowly by coming up with their plans in an intelligent way. When Ittoki woke up the next day, Raiha brought him a drink and showed him the ninja academy he was about to join. She revealed that the school was protected by NSC, so it would be safe for him, and its exams were in 2 days, so he should start practicing right away. At the Iga supermarket, Ban arrived and told Yumi that they had to talk. When Ittoki asked about what NSC was, Raiha revealed that it was the National Ninjutsu Security Measures Committee that was formed to ensure that the villages wouldn't fight with each other after a major war between the ninja villages 70 years ago. Being in charge of the company that provides them stuff, Koga had increased the price of their products to pressurize Iga, and Kozo felt that it was a cheap move. But Yumi told him to calm down, and happily accepted it, as it was approved by the NSC. Later at night at the dinner table, Ittoki talked to Yumi about the ninja school, and she told him to just give her best, and not worry about it, since she had told him that his father died in an accident. He then asked if his father was a ninja as well, and died performing his duties, but she just brushed off the question. The morning arrived, and he met with Takasada and Kusetsu, as they were supposed to take him to the exam location. Takasada then received a call about the exam location, and it turned out to be a supermarket. Kusetsu told Ittoki about the code words, and when he said them to an employee, she took him to the exam location at the back of the supermarket. He saw a bunch of goofy-ass people sitting there, and the examiner revealed that the test would be hide and seek. The examinees would be split into hiders and seekers would have to search for the hiders within 10 minutes. The one who would succeed in either hiding or seeking would end up getting admission into the Ninja Academy. Kusetsu successfully passed the exam, but when it was Ittoki's turn, he got confused about how to find the hider. A guy was slowly creeping up on him to kill him, but Takasada took care of him. As he continued searching for the hider, Kusetsu told him that Koga ninjas were trying to kill him, but she and Takasada would take care of them, so he could proceed with his exam. Sato shot a dart towards him from a distance and disappeared after Kusetsu caught it. She revealed that Sato was using optical camouflage and told him to focus on his exams and leave the fighting to her. She started to fight her secretly, but Sato was able to move away from her after other ninjas got in her way. When Ittoki realized that someone was coming his way, he used a fire extinguisher and sounded the fire alarm so the sprinklers would go off and reveal her location. Despite that, she still chased after him, but Kusetsu was successfully able to kick her away, and she got arrested by ninjas from the NSC. The examiner then came and told him that his time was up. He asked Ittoki why he chose this method to reveal the hidden ninja, as there were other less attention-grabbing ways to get it done. But Ittoki wanted to take care of the people in the supermarket as well, and by sounding the fire alarm, he made them all run outside. He had failed the exams and had to hide on a remote island until the next exam, when suddenly Takasada received a call and revealed that he had passed. At the Koga headquarters, Gosho from the NSC told Kaido that they had arrested 5 of his ninjas for attempted murder. He apologized on behalf of his village and told him that the ninjas they had arrested were rogue shinobis that flew the Koga village 5 months ago. Before leaving, Gosho warned him that if Koga village would do anything suspicious again, they would have to face the consequences. When he went outside, he received a call and learned that Sato had committed suicide. On the graduation day of his current school, he told his friends that he would be going to Tokyo to study further, and they all vowed to continue to stay friends despite the distance between them. After listening to a lecture from Yumi, Takasada took him and Kusetsu to Tokyo, and went to a secret train station. The train took them to a remote island where the school was located, and after leaving the train, Ittoki saw a beautiful girl named Ryoko, and engaged in small conversation with her before her friends took her away. Looking around, Ittoki thought that this place must be fun, but accidentally came across some Koga elites. Realizing that he was in trouble, a girl named Kairi took him away, and told him to not mess with these guys, as if he ticked them off, his school life would turn into a nightmare. She was surprised when she learned that he was from Iga village, as its ninjas were famous everywhere. All the new students then attended the orientation where the principal gave them a speech, and told them that everything was fine to do here as long as they didn't get caught. During lunch break, Ittoki was about to order something fancy, but Kairi ordered a disgusting ninja meal for everyone, as only the Koga students would eat nice here and bully anyone who would eat the same food as them. When the Koga students caught him looking at them, they approached him, and Himura was about to throw hands until Suzaku made him calm down, and told Ittoki that the Iga ninjas had killed their previous chief Kishi, who was one of the strongest ninjas to ever exist. As a revenge, Koga would destroy Iga completely, and wouldn't leave a trace of them left. Going to their dorm, the group came across a huge building, and Ittoki got happy thinking that it was their dorm, but Kairi revealed that only Koga students lived there, and took him to a house that looked like it belonged in a horror movie. As he was lying on the floor thinking, Kusetsu came and told Ittoki to not allow the Koga students to live rent-free in his head, and to spend his time training. On the next day, the teachers informed the students that they would be wearing their ninja suits today, and only Ittoki was the one who didn't know what it was since he had studied in a normal middle school. After everyone wore their ninja suits, the teacher informed them that they had to go to the roof of a tower where the principal was relaxing with a supply of manju, and get a manju as proof of reaching there before he eats them all. When the activity started, most of the students quickly made their way to the tower, but Ittoki couldn't even move in that suit. Luckily, Ryoko was still there, and started to fix his suit, which made this degenerate horny for some reason. After she fixed it, Ittoki started to run and drop from a cliff. He thought that he was going to die, but the suit protected him, and Ryoko started to give him a lecture about how cool these suits were. She was from the Sega village, which was famous for being a producer of ninja tools, and it made her fall in love with them when she was just a child. As she kept on blabbering, Ittoki politely told her to shut the f*** up so they could finish the activity. Suzaku and Kusetsu were the first ones to reach the school, and he wanted to be first so bad that he kicked her down while they were climbing the tower. On their way back, Suzuki was about to punch Ittoki, but Kusetsu knocked him away, and they continued to go back to the teacher. Kairi had already gotten the manju, but Himura and other Koga students ordered her to hand it over to them. Ittoki felt that something bad was going on, so he told Ryoko to go further, and came across Kairi beaten to a pulp. She told him that the Koja boys took manju from her and broke her suit. None of this seemed alright to him, so Ittoki ran up to them, and told Himura to return the manju. He charged at him, but just jumped over him, and Ittoki bumped into a wall. They were beating the living shit out of him, but he managed to get the manju back from him secretly, and the principal stopped the fight later. He gave the manju back to Kairi, and when Himura reached back to the teacher, he couldn't find the manjua in his pocket, and got slapped by Suzaku for being a worthless piece of shit. Ittoki carried Kairi on his back, and passed it to Kyoko so he could get the manju for himself. When he reached the top, there was only one manju left, and the principal told him to get f***ed before eating it. Despite the activity not going their way, it brought Ittoki closer to Kairi and Ryoko, and enjoyed his time with them during lunch. At the NSC headquarters, a man was giving a report about the evidence at the scene where the Koga chief was killed, and revealed that the wounds from his body were the result of an Iga sword, and Takasada was most likely the suspect that killed him. When Shioni arrived at the office, the man gave her the task of tailing Takasada despite her being a rookie with no experience. He showed her the footage of Takasada's fight with the assassins when he saved Ittoki, and he moved so fast that he only appeared as a shadow in the footage. At the Ninja Academy, the teacher told the students that there would be a test in 2 days about the workings of ninja tools. When Ittoki went back to the dorm, he asked Kyoko to teach him about the ninja tools, as he couldn't understand shit by reading the books, but to his surprise, Kairi told him that a ninja tools test meant that they would steal the test answers using ninja tools. The day before the exam, the teacher hides the answer somewhere, and the students' job is to get their hands on them without getting detected by the teacher, as they would be marked as failed if that happened. Later, Kyoko showed him how to use some tools, and told him that his father was the leader of the Sega village. But even since she was little, he told her to live a normal life, and she only came to this ninja school under the condition that she would leave everything related to ninjutsu after graduating. Meanwhile, Takasada met Ryoko's father Suzu to talk to him about something that Inji from the Koga village showed him to make, but he couldn't tell him anything because of his professional obligations. When Ittoki and the others were planning their answer sheet heist, 2 boys came and asked them to include them in their plans, as they saw Ittoki fighting with the Koga boys earlier, and it gave them the motivation to go against them as well. They secretly reached the tool building, and Kyoko made Ittoki use a shuriken drone to film Mitsu's room. After he was finished, he tried getting the shuriken back, but it hit the door on its way back and alerted the teacher. Some of them quickly went to the roof while Kairi and 2 other students took the teacher's attention so the rest could get the answer sheet. Meanwhile, Takasada made his way to a Koga facility to find out their plans and entered it using the vents. When the students reached Miss Mitsu's room, they couldn't find the key to her safe and thought that she probably had it. Ittoki asked Kairi if she could steal it back, but she couldn't do it, and even Kusetsu had to go away because Hinura and other Koga boys attacked their member. Luckily, Kyoko had a lock-opening ninja tool with her that she brought from her village, but it would take 1 minute for it to open the safe, so Ittoki asked Kairi to buy them some time. When Takasada entered Enji's office, he came across a safe and opened it, only to find out that there was nothing there. But he later found something interesting in a computer. After 1 minute had passed, the safe had opened, and they successfully retrieved the answers, so Ittoki told everyone to withdraw. When he realized Shioni was spying on him, he triggered the alarm to make the guards run after her while he effortlessly escaped the building. The next day, Shioni apologized to her boss for failing to get any information, but he told her that her assignment remained unchanged. He asked her about the facility she went to and found it suspicious that it had a lot of guards despite it being a factory related to food stuff. Meanwhile, the students were taking the test and Ittoki's soul left his body as the test was totally different. Suzaku and the other Koga boys swapped the real answers sheet with fake ones before Ittoki, and the others could go there. Despite the test being totally different, Kyoko managed to solve it anyway because of her knowledge of the ninja tools. Takasada went back to meet Yumi and revealed that Koga was after the secret ninja core passed down in Iga. To most of them, it was only a legend, so Raiha asked Yumi if the weapon that was too dangerous for humans to use was real, and she confirmed it. Its whereabouts were only passed down from chief to chief, so Yumi couldn't show them where it was located. At the Ninja Academy, Ittoki and the others were on cleaning duty because of failing the test, and Kyoko was cleaning as well to help her friends. Kusetsu secretly told him that there was a traitor among them who was in contact with Koga. Sometime before Kishi's death, he told Suzaku that he wished to create a world without ninjas since ninjas existed to protect the peace in secret, and a world without ninjas would mean that the world was truly at peace. Suzaku, liking the dream, wanted to help him achieve it, not knowing that Kishi would die soon. During the class, Mitsu announced that the end-of-term exam would happen next week, and explained that the exam would be dangerous and each year there were injuries. In the worst case, they even had fatal accidents, but it's part of their training, as ninjas were meant to walk shoulder to shoulder with death. Kusetsu was sure that Koga would make a move on Ittoki, and he asked Kairi if fatal accidents were really common in the exam, and wanted to skip the test after hearing that they were. But Kairi reminded him that he already failed the previous exam, and would get expelled if he skipped this one. While walking through the hallway, Suzaku passed by them and said that he would kill him for sure. At NSC headquarters, Gosho was talking about the power that Koga had obtained by trampling on other villages. But the acts of aggression were prohibited according to ninja rules, so that's why they put financial pressure on the villages as well. But the previous chief Kishi changed it all as he aimed to walk the path of peace with the rest of the villages. He was a great ninja who was admired by everyone. But for some reason, he was killed, and now Koga had a great grudge against Iga, so the NSC needed to uncover the truth and resolve the situation as quickly as possible since an all-out war was coming. At a Koga meeting, Kaido asked Denji about how the contract with Sega was going, and told him to use forceful measures if required. He ended the meeting, but told Ban to stay, and talked about Suzaku's success and brilliant grades in the Ninja Academy. Being frail and weak as he could meet his maker at any moment, so he told Ban that Suzaku was a fine candidate to be the next chief. Kairi wanted to prepare for the exam, and held a meeting with every resident of the old dorm to come up with a strategy. But Ittoki decided to leave as he didn't want to drag them into his problems. Kyoko then gave him the Sega Village's latest ninja tool that could disguise his whole body along with his voice when paired with the ninja core. Ittoki tried to decline a few times, but he eventually had to accept it when she forced him to. When he went to his room, Kusetsu told him that she would take down Suzaku before he would lay his hands on him, and asked him to take care of other Koga students. He was against it, as Kusetsu might get killed. But she considered this her duty as a ninja, which made him even more angry, and he went outside to take a walk. While he was walking, Juzan the principal invited him to a cup of tea and some manjus. Sitting with him, Ittoki Kasada wondered if ninjas were killers, and explained that his father was killed because he was a ninja, and he was told that Iga killed Koga's chief, so they were after his life now. Juzan told him that a peaceful world without war, crime, or killing was a fairy tale, But despite that, the dream of a peaceful world was too precious to give up, which is why the ninjas do dirty work in the shadows to protect the fairy tale called peace. Juzan also revealed that Ittoki wasn't the first student to ask him such a question, as Kishi and his father Heir had asked him the same. After listening to Juzan, they both told him that this was not what they wanted to be. Hearing this, Ittoki finished his tea and thanked Juzan before leaving. The next day, Kusetsu trained Ittoki to try to steal her ninja core and told him that surprise attacks were the way to go when the opponent would be stronger than him and run if his attack fails. She planned to strike Suzaku immediately, and he should lie in wait to grab someone's ninja core, and then stay hidden again until the exam would end. Before going to practice again, she threw the plans into the dustbin, and someone picked them up when they left. Having received the plan, Suzaku made a plan to take down Ittoki during the exam. But the other Koga members didn't like the plan. However, he asserted his authority over them and told them that he was doing all this for Koga and the late Chief Kishi. Before the exam started, Mitsu explained to the students that they had to obtain another student's ninja core within the time period, and anyone who would lose his ninja core would fail immediately. When the exam started, Kusetsu immediately went to look for Suzaku, and Himura and other Koga students went to the location where Ittoki was supposed to be at. They went straight into a trap and got knocked down. Kusetsu and Ittoki thanked the traitor as they threw away their plan deliberately to lure him out, and he revealed that he was forced to obey Suzaku as he threatened to crush his village if he didn't. The student then told Himura that he had found Ittoki's location, and when he arrived there, it turned out to be Ittoki who was disguising himself to take down Himura. But his attack failed, and Himura turned out to be Suzaku in disguise, while the Suzaku Kusetsu went to was Himura. She was attacked by other Koga and found it comical how well Suzaku's plan worked. Despite that, he knew Kusetsu was too strong for them to defeat even if they outnumbered her, so they were willing to sacrifice their lives to take her down. He then pressed a red button that caused a huge explosion in the area, and the teachers immediately rushed toward the explosion's location. Kusetsu was trapped under rubble, and Ittoki was being chased around by Suzaku. He continued to beat the living shit out of him, and even injured his leg by piercing it with a knife, but Ittoki kept on running, and jumped from the building. Suzaku quickly caught up to him, but even after getting injured a few times, he refused to die, stating that Suzaku was the killer here, and that if he died, the circle of revenge would keep repeating, and more people would die, managing to escape him again. Ittoki threw a smoke screen at Suzaku and threw a bunch of shurikens at him. He managed to deflect all of them, but Ittoki broke his core by attacking him sneakily. He didn't like Suzaku at all, but before he dropped to the ground, he told him that he didn't want him to become a killer either. Ittoki later woke up in bed surrounded by Kosetsu, Ryoko, and Kairi. Seeing he was okay, Kosetsu then fell asleep, and the girls told him that Kosetsu would have killed all of Koga if something were to happen to him and that she never left his side, even though she was in bad shape herself. Himura and the rest of the Koga were also hospitalized, and he was angry at Suzaku for not killing Ittoki. Shioni tailed Takasada, who led her to a secret facility, and after following him through the air ducts, she saw some scientists looking at Kishi in a chamber, and there were other chambers as well with other body parts. Takasada then showed up in front of her, and they left the facility. Shioni was surprised that he knew she was tailing him, but then wondered why he showed her this, so Takasada told her to do her job herself. Kairi visited Suzaku, saying that a lot of students from her dorm had stopped coming to school, and asked if he was the reason. Seeing his expression, she asked him to spare her, and Suzaku told her that there were still things she needed to do. She called him master, and agreed to everything he wanted her to do. Kairi and Kyoko were invited to spend their summer break at Iga, and Yumi apologized to the latter, saying that she was sorry to hear what happened. Sega machinery caught fire in the night, and Gentoo and Takasada believed that Koga made it look like that. It spelled the end of Sega, as they had to accept the job that Koga offered. But Gentoo vowed to never forget what they did to them. Ittoki showed the girls their room, and Kairi later surveyed around, and reported to Suzaku that she had successfully invaded Iga. He met with Ban, and told him that he wanted to be put on the front line for the mass assault on Iga. Ban mentioned that this was just a proposition made by a small group of people, and talked about the students who got injured in the Ninja Academy because he messed up. He asked if he still wanted to protect Kishi's ideals of a world without ninjas, but Suzaku now think that he should listen to his rage and crush Iga completely, as being calm to protect Kishi's ideal already made him mess up once, as he could have killed Ittoki during the exam. At NSC, a meeting was held, so Shioni could give a presentation about Koga trying to create something new using Kishi's body, and she told Gosho that they should be investigating Koga right now rather than Iga, as the atrocities they were committing could have a greater effect on everyone. But he reminded her to not let emotions dull her senses, and asked her to continue investigating Takasada. Ittoki along with Takasada and Yumi visited Rya's husband, who had been in a coma for the past 5 years after he returned from a mission. Afterward, they visited Takasada's grave, and Ittoki told Yumi that Juzan mentioned his father, saying that Takasada didn't want to become a ninja if it meant doing dirty work. According to Yumi, he was always like that, and would even accept ninjas that weren't from Iga, and would treat everyone nice, as he wanted to change the ninja world. She revealed that he died during a mission with Takasada, and he still blamed himself for that. As a chief, she too had sent many people on dangerous missions, and Rya's husband was one of them. Being the head of Iga, she had to bear sins that couldn't be erased, and told Ittoki that he should prepare himself for that as well. He later went with the girls to the market to do some errands, and learned that everyone who worked there was a ninja. An old lady gave them the task to catch 100 lively sweet fish, so they all went to a nearby stream, and Kairi asked whose swimsuit was the most beautiful. Ryoko looked hot as f***, while Kusetsu's flat body looked like it could be used as a raft to travel in water. However, he didn't want to get cancelled, so he chose to give no answer, and they all started to catch fish. Being the badass chick she was, Kusetsu started to catch the wish with her bare f***ing hands like a bear, and everyone else did their best as well. Ittoki stated that Kairi was quite good at it, and she explained her technique, saying that she throws a decoy sweetfish to another sweetfish territory, and as they hate the decoy, they get caught. She felt like she was describing herself and explained that her family were freelance ninjas and she didn't have a village. While saying this, Kairi recalled her past and teachings at Fuma village, where she was taught to hide behind an act and never trust anyone. Ittoki thanked Kairi, and told her that he didn't know anything about ninja or their existence. But when he joined the Ninja Academy school, she was the first one to help him there. After they were done, they went back to the village with the fishes, and Ittoki asked what they were planning to do with so many fishes. So Rya told him that the ninjas of the village gather every year to remember the previous chief, and since he wasn't a ninja before, it would be his first time joining it. As everyone was preparing for the day, Takasada came and told Ittoki that this whole event originally started to cheer Yumi when Takasada died, but it ended up becoming an annual event. Kusetsu had no family, and she was abandoned, but Yumi took her in and raised her like her own daughter, so she was willing to do anything for her. He then took a few cooked fishes and gave it to Shioni, who was still spying on him, but she was so bad that Takasada always knew about her location. When everyone sat together, Yumi gave a little speech, and everyone started to fill their belly and get drunk. Takasada acted like a complete clown, and Ittoki thought that it was completely unbelievable. But some people came and told him to ignore the formalities tonight, as everybody just wanted to enjoy this day to their best, and reminded him that without Yumi, the village would have fallen apart. When his father died years ago, Takasada was angry at Takasada's death and wanted revenge, as he saw him get killed right in front of his eyes. But most of the people were against him, as that would just spark a war. As a fight was about to start, Yumi stopped them and slapped Takasada, saying that when people lose what they protect, they lose their way. She told him that he didn't need revenge, but to remember what he should protect, as Takasada loved the village. And even after all he did to protect it, it would be disgraceful if the idiots he died to protect would turn against each other. When Takasada's actions were getting out of hand, Kusetsu knocked him out, and Ittoki told Yumi that he needed to strengthen his resolve, as he could see the Iga village was a peaceful and good place. She took him away to tell him something in secret, and Kairi tried to follow them, but Kozo stopped her, as he wanted her to tell him about Ittoki's school life. He mentioned how he had to give up his old life and friends when the burden of being the successor of Iga fell on him, and he was worried about how his school life would go. But Ittoki told him that he was enjoying his new life at the Ninja Academy thanks to Kairi and Ryoko. Kairi was really moved after hearing this, and later reported to Suzaku that nothing happened today, and it was all peaceful in Iga. Yumi decided to tell him about Iga's secret ninja core, saying that it was sealed away because of its tremendous power, and its location was only known to the chiefs. She then opened the registry of ninjas and told him that once his name was written there, he would be a true Iga ninja, and asked if he was willing to commit to that. Later, while sitting with the girls, he asked when they started to feel that they should become ninja, so Kusetsu told him that the feelings just came one day. Tozo then came in a hurry to tell everyone that the Ninja Academy was closed temporarily due to a large number of absences, and when they all went with him, they watched a secret coded message on the TV. the NSC was secretly telling everyone that the Grand Ninja Council would be held soon, where the leaders of all the prominent villages were called to form a high council of 13 ninja clan heads. The meetings decided the future of all the ninjas in Japan, and the last time it happened was 70 years ago, and at that time, an armistice was signed to suspend the state of war between the villages. At a meeting in NSC, Gosho instructed everyone to be extra vigilant, as all the village leaders would be gathered in one place, and when he left, Shioni asked why he hadn't informed them about this beforehand. She felt like she was being led around by the nose, and even though she joined NSC out of a desire to do what was right, she couldn't tell what was right anymore, so Gosho told her to question herself what's right, and just keep doing his job until she finds out the answer. When Yumi was about to leave with Takasada and Kozo, Ittoki asked if he, being the heir, should go as well, but she told him that a kid's job was to study only. When everyone gathered, Gosho started the meeting, but Kozo saw that there was no one from Seiga, so Ban explained that Seiga was now under the control of Koga, and thus Seiga had withdrawn from the meeting, and would follow Koga in all decisions. Gosho decided to start right on the point, and when he said that the peace was threatened by Koga, Dazai laughed, thinking it was due to a conflict between Koga and Iga, but he explained that Koga's actions affected the whole country. It all started with Seiga becoming their subsidiary, as there were no records of any Seiga working at any of Koga Holdings' officially registered facilities, and moreover, most of the Seiga members had suddenly vanished. There were also frequent cases of small-scale villages which are never heard from again, and at the Ninja Academy, the voluntary withdrawals far exceeded the normal numbers. As Koga denies all this, Gosho wanted to hear from the council members if Koga had acted against their village, but to his surprise, everyone denied having any problems with them. Yumi still hadn't talked, and told everyone that she denied any allegation of Iga being responsible for Kishi's death, and also provided photo evidence that Koga was developing a new ninja tool weapon, and that they were targeting Iga's secret ninja core. Yumi stated they were using a fake vengeance as a reason to invade Iga. However, Iga was prepared to destroy its secret ninja core, and explained that the core was used to achieve peace, but if it was the reason to ignite another war, Iga would happily destroy it to prevent it. According to Yumi, killing each other should remain a thing of the past, and everyone now should aim to protect the ninja world and its people. Salmon from Bizen then stood up and revealed that his village had experienced Koga aggression. His people had been scattered, and the small branch family villages had fallen, which meant that they couldn't fight anymore. And seeing the steady collapse of the village made his grandmother take her own life. One by one, the majority of the members stood up and said Koga had done them harm. Hearing this, Gosho told Kaido that the village chief must take responsibility, and decide to arrest him on suspicion of violating the ninja ordinances. He willingly accepts the arrest, and Ban asked Gosho if they had found Kishi's murderer, but he told him that they are still investigating. Genji then entered the meeting, and revealed that he had found evidence that Kishi was killed by Iga. He explained that he didn't have the security footage due to jamming, but now he managed to extract fragments, and showed a blurry video to everyone. Kozo complained that this blurry video wasn't sufficient for evidence, but Genji told him that the audio from the video was the thing that mattered, as the audio recorded from the ninja core of Kishi's killer matched the sound that an Iga's ninja core made. Takasada got ready to fight, but Yumi calmed him down, and told him to tell Ittoki that he had to take care of Iga before leaving with Gosho. Takasada and Kozo then went back to the village, and told everyone that Yumi had been arrested. Kusetsu asked Takasada to give her the orders to rescue her, but he told her to make no move right now, and passed Yumi's message to Ittoki. He requested everyone to gather every member of Iga village for a meeting, and meanwhile, Inji told everyone at Koga that Iga had declared war on them, and they should fully mobilize their force and annihilate them. While Gosho was investigating the footage, Genji stabbed him from behind, and blamed him for always favoring Iga even though they killed Kishi. But Gosho could feel that there was something wrong with the video, and couldn't accept it as evidence. When everyone gathered, Iga addressed them, and after showing his name on the ninja registry, he told everyone that he wished to serve as the acting chief until Yumi would come back, and everyone bowed to him. Meanwhile, Genji went to Yumi and told her that he sentences her to death. Kaido was born sickly and feeble, and needed his flesh to be constantly reforged in order for him to live. Pain was everything he knew throughout his childhood, and despite everything he had endured, he was still considered as a failure who could never become a ninja, and all of this made him hate the world of ninjas. At the NSC headquarters, Genji freed him from his imprisonment, and Inji received the order to mobilize the army of mechanical ninjas they were creating called Asura. 72 hours had passed since any contact from Gosho, so all authority as head of the NSC passed to Genji. Shoin didn't agree with it, as Gosho went on a solo mission, and they should wait for him to come back. But Genji just told her to shut the f*** up, and announced that Kaido would be released because of insufficient evidence, and in accordance to the ninja ordinances, Yumi would be executed for being the mastermind behind the plot to kill Keiichi. He also appointed Shioni to be the captain of the 1st Division, and told her to work hard as Gosho's successor. In a meeting with fellow workers, she told everyone that the disappearance of Gosho, and Genji taking command seemed fishy to her, and she thought that he was involved in his disappearance somehow. The other workers reminded her that the NSC must remain neutral, and told her to not lose her cool, as she was a captain now. But even she knew that she didn't deserve to be one, and thought that Genji made her one just so he could keep her rebellious ass in check. Meanwhile, Genji and Kaido visited Yumi to offer her a deal to alter her death sentence in exchange for the secret ninja core. But she denied it, as she knew that it would be equivalent to letting a kid hold sharp objects. Kaido told her that her ego and dignity would be the end of her, but she told him that he wouldn't understand her motives, as he barely had any dignity at all.
That one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
In Iga village, Takasada received the news of Yumi's death sentence, and Kairi was making fun of Ittoki for giving a cringe-ass speech to the villagers. However, Ryoko praised him for carrying out the duties of a chief nicely, and he asked her about his village and dad, but she was worried about it, and was sure that her father would be fine, as he was a tough nut to crack. As they kept talking, Takasada took them to a meeting, and told everyone about Yumi's death sentence. A man got up in anger, and suggested that the whole Iga village should go and rescue her. But Kozo tried to bring some sense into him by saying that doing this would turn NSC and everyone else against Iga village. For the man, it wasn't the time to debate while Yumi's death was on the line, and since her sentence would be carried out tomorrow, they had to decide their plan right now, so Takasada suggested Ittoki to expel him, so he could go rescue Yumi without putting the village in danger. As everyone debated about this, Kusetsu held Ittoki hostage, and demanded to be expelled, as the only family she had was Yumi, and she couldn't just let her die for a false reason. She considered her life to be worth the same as the whole village, and didn't care what would happen to anyone. But Ittoki freed himself, and stated that they should go rescue his mother as Iga ninjas. He then told everyone to gather information to prove the chief's innocence, as they couldn't rely on NSC to do it. At Koga, Suzaku told Kaido that he received a report from his spy that he sent to Iga that Takasada had left the village to recover the Iga chafe, and since their greatest asset was absent from the village, it was the perfect chance for them to attack. Before leaving, he requested him to include him on the front line when the attack would happen, and Kaido agreed immediately, as he had trust in his abilities. Ban then met him outside the office to ask him to reconsider, but Suzaku wanted to make decisions about his life himself, and said that it wasn't the time to act cowardly. As the Koga forces were getting ready, the meeting to make the final decision on whether to attack Iga began, and Enji stated that they had 10 times more forces than Iga's, and since Takasada wasn't present there, he felt that their victory was certain, so they should attack. However, Ban and a few other officials were against the attack, as the Asura were still unfinished, and putting them on the front line for a large-scale attack was foolish. Inbai called him a pussy, and said that crushing a puny village like Iga shouldn't be a problem for them. But Ban thought that they shouldn't underestimate Iga's strength. As the two kept on arguing, and Ban begged Kaido to reconsider his decision, he shot him in the heart. He agreed the Ban was usually right about his decisions, and he might be right this time as well. But Koga had no place for pussies. At Iga, a city-wide lockdown was ordered, as a toxic gas was spreading everywhere, and as Ittoki and the girls were looking at the news, the phone signals went out, and Kozo told everyone that when ninjas launch a large-scale attack, they cause a large-scale interference to keep it hidden from the rest of the world, and all of this meant that Koga had declared war on them. Ittoki then sat with the others to discuss their strategy, and Riaya told him that they would make the command center their last line of defense. She pressed a button that made the command room pop up from the ground, and as Koga forces approached the village, a ninja activated the village's outer defenses and blasted the forces with rockets. Even though few vehicles were destroyed, the Asura were unharmed and approached the ninja, so the badass old guy smoked the last cigarette of his life and exploded himself to take some of the enemies with him. Meanwhile, Takasada and Kusetsu were dressed as heavy metal fans to approach the NSC and knocked out the guard when he got distracted. When they went into the building, a lot of guards came, but they used a smoke bomb and effortlessly wiped them out. After they rescued Yumi, they moved out of the building and saw Genji and a number of ninjas blocking their path. Kozo and Raiha told Ittoki that the enemy Koga ninjas are accompanied by ninja robots, and their numbers are about 250, while Iga had 48 frontline ninjas. Somewhere else, Takasada told Kusetsu to take Yumi and run, while he remained to face Genji and his squad. Ittoki wondered why Koga wasn't directly attacking them, but remained cautious. He asked the Iga ninja to report anything they notice about the mechanical ninjas, and Ryoko asked if they could bring her one mechanical ninja so she could examine it. At Koga meeting, they reported to Kaido that about 29% of the Asura units had been destroyed, but there were no human casualties, and they would likely suppress Iga within an hour. Soon managed to bring a mechanical ninja to Ittoki, and when Ryoko started to inspect it, she quickly determined that the energy the ninja core provided was too low, and expected the mechanical ninjas to be able to operate for max an hour. Shiota then reported that a mechanical ninja was about to kill him, but suddenly retreated and another mechanical ninja attacked him. Ittoki then guessed if the insufficient energy was the mechanical ninja's problem. Then that explained why Koga was after Iga's secret ninja core, as it could solve their energy problems. Ryoko guessed that based on Shiota's report, the mechanical ninjas were rotating and went to some location to get recharged, while others continued fighting. Since that base needed to be big and transported by trucks, Raiha pinpointed 5 potential locations for the base. However, they were unable to send anyone to scout the locations, so Ittoki decided to go there himself, and Ryoko offered to go with him. Kairi didn't think that she would be useful and preferred staying out of it, and Ittoki was fine with it, saying they would play by the river again when this was over. Kairi then went to report to Suzaku, but was torn apart if she should send the report or not. Takasada had defeated all of Genji's men, but when Shioni showed up, Genji ordered her to capture Takasada. Shioni, however, was there to put him under arrest, as he was a traitor, and explained they arrested Koga ninjas attempting to burn Gosho's body at NSC-owned cremation facility. Shioni stated that Genji was the main suspect for Hayato's murder. Takasada then got behind Genji and strangled him, and he was leaving. Shioni ordered her men to leave him, since their priority was getting aid for the NSC agents and getting things under control. At Koga, they learned about Genji's arrest and Takasada heading back to Iga. Kaido was annoyed, as an hour had passed, but the men told him that by the morning, they should suppress Iga. Inbai stated that it was too long, and told them to go all out and finish the attack in 30 minutes. Meanwhile, Kusetsu and Takasada learned about the attack on Iga. As Yumeka wanted to return to the village, Kusetsu agreed to sneak her in. Ittoki and Ryoko found the recharging bass, and seeing a large group moving out, he thought that it was their chance to destroy the base. Ryoko took out some grenades, but told him that they needed to be placed directly on the charging system. She explained she would be able to jam the signal and neutralize the mechanical ninjas for about 10 seconds. They started their attack, and when Ryoko temporarily neutralized the mechanical ninjas, Ittoki ran towards the charging system, but Himura stopped him. Ryoko attacked Himura from behind, which gave Ittoki a second chance. However, as the mechanical ninjas reactivate, they capture him along with Ryoko. One of the mechanical ninjas took the grenades from Ittoki, but then ran and placed them on the charging system. Seeing this, Ittoki threw a shuriken at the grenade, and large explosion happened. As the smoke cleared, Ryoko woke up Ittoki and wanted them to leave, but he headed towards the mechanical ninja that helped him and saw it was Kairi in disguise. Koga learns of the loss of the charging station, but didn't believe they can defeat Iga without the Asura units and decided to retreat. Shioni questions Genji if he killed Hayato on Koga's orders. He prefers staying quiet and waiting for his lawyer. Shioni guesses it's Koga's lawyer, but stated they are not going to defend him. She explains that the Koga who attempted to burn Hayato's body stated that Genji killed Hayato, and they only took the job to burn the body and have no connection to Koga. Shioni is annoyed that Genji still wished to serve Koga, even after they abandoned him and then told him that if he is truly NSC, then he should do what's necessary to serve justice. Annoyed, Genji stated this isn't over, and as Shioni leaves, he performs a jutsu. Yumi and Kusetsu return to Iga and meet up with Kozo and Raiha. Genji's jutsu then activates and he takes control over Kusetsu and points Kusetsu's blade at Yumi, stating that if they don't give her the secret ninja core, she will kill Yumi. Yumi takes off Kusetsu's mask, seeing her biting her lips, and stated she can see how hard she is fighting, and no matter what happens, she will always be her daughter. Kusetsu tries fighting the control and ends up collapsing on the ground. Yumi then sits next to her and hugs her, but is then stabbed. Ittoki and then Rest arrive, only to find Yumi's body in a pool of blood and Kusetsu standing next to her with a bloody kunai. Koga attacks various ninja villages, including Ibaros, Kuroto Dazai's, Yachio Mochizuki's, and Salmon Katori's. Raiha told Ittoki that since Yumi had passed away, they needed to complete the procedures and make Ittoki the official chief of Iga. Takasada was holding and interrogating Kusetsu, but it was almost certain that she would be blamed for Yumi's death, and Ittoki would need to decide on what to do with Kusetsu. Ittoki then recalls how they tried helping Yumi, but couldn't save her. At Koga meeting, Enbai stated that the annihilation of Hachiya troop, Bizen, and Kurohabaki is complete. Enbai stated they will recall the dispatched units from those areas and prepare a second assault on Iga. Kaido told Enbai and his followers that they failed once and this is their last chance. Suzaku is advised to not return to Koga as Kaido intends to kill anyone who didn't conform to his vision. Suzaku wonders why his father was killed, and the man told him it's because he suggested abandoning the plans for armed suppression. Suzaku stated that sacrifices are expected, but they need to take revenge for Kishinmaru's death. The man told Suzaku that his father tried to protect the village and Suzaku's future, and was no coward. Before leaving, he told Suzaku to stay hidden so he didn't die as well. Ittoki becomes the official 19th chief of Iga. Some of the Iga wonder what will be Iga's action now, suggesting that they avenge Yumi and execute Kusetsu, and also noting that Koga is currently attacking other villages and will soon attack Iga again. Raiha adds that since Koga had currently spread its forces all over the country, this may be Iga's only chance to attack. Ittoki wants to make the decision after his mother's funeral. A bit later, Ryoko informs Ittoki that her father contacted her, and she will be going back home. She explains he got absorbed in his work and forgot to check his phone, and that right now he is in the hospital. Kairi suggests that she go home too. Ryoko still wishes to visit Yumi's funeral and wonders about Kairi, but Kairi isn't sure she will be able to. Shioni visits Takasada and requests his assistant to bring Koga to justice. She explains that Genji is in confinement and NSC founder Juzan Jiraibo is serving as provisional head of the organization. Shioni gives Takasada reports from Genji's connection with Koga and data from his register. Kusetsu is listed in that register and Shioni wonders what is her relationship to Koga. When Ryoko and Kairi leave, Takasada takes Ittoki to see Kusetsu. Takasada explains he had to tie her up so that she didn't kill herself. He asks her to tell them again what happened. Kusetsu then explains that a bell rang in her head and from there she only remembers small fragments. But in the end she finds herself covered in blood. As she cries, she asks them to kill her, stating she no longer had a reason to live. Takasada explains he figured what happened to her. He reveals that Koga was developing technology to control others with a microchip implanted in the brain. Satomi Tsubaki, who tried to kill Ittoki, also had a chip in her brain. Ittoki wonders why would Kusetsu had a chip, and Takasada stated that Kaido was implanting chips in children he had with mistresses and sending them to other villages, creating unwitting spies. Takasada told Kusetsu that Kaido is her father. The news shocked her, but she then asks him since how long he knew that, as he probably investigated her before. Takasada explains that he didn't know about the chips as Genji had hidden that information within the NSC. Kusetsu stated that just knowing she was Kaido's daughter, they should have thrown her out of the village, but Takasada asks her if Yumi will ever do such thing. Takasada recalls the time when he told Yumi who Kusetsu's father was. He explained that her mother is dead and they should put her in an orphanage, but Yumi decided to keep her and names her Kusetsu, written as Red Snow. Ittoki stated that Kusetsu was controlled and it's not her fault, but Kusetsu disagrees, stating it's her fault as she killed Yumi. Takasada stated that he was watching Kusetsu as she grew up and taught her ninjutsu. If she had killed Yumi, her wound would have been different. Kusetsu was resisting the brainwashing and tried protecting Yumi until the end. Takasada then notes that the traitor is someone else. Kaido speaks with the Iga traitor and asks him if he killed Yumi. The traitor confirms as Yumi refused to reveal the secret core's location and Kusetsu's brainwashing wore off. The traitor explains that Ittoki is now the chief, but Iga is in confusion and Ittoki failed to take command. Kaido told him to do nothing else and continue sending reports. Kairi returns to Kisuke Ninokuru and starts giving her report for infiltrating Iga, but Kisuke stops her and other ninjas surround her. He told her that being friend or foe no longer matters to Koga and he will ensure the Fuma line surviving. Kairi can't believe her father sold her out, but Kisuke gives her a kunai and activates a secret trapdoor and takes Kairi out of the house. Kisuke then pulls out bombs, stating that Fuma will survive and blows himself up, taking the Koga ninja with him. Ryoko visits her father in the hospital. She notices that Gantetsu is missing his right arm and he explains that they made them work a bit hard, and as he complained, they decided to use him as an example and cut his arm. At Yumi's funeral, Ittoki wants to stay a bit longer with Yumi. Suzaku then comes and pays his respect to Yumi. He asks him how it feels to have your parent killed. Ittoki is angry, but remains silent and Suzaku calls him a coward. Ittoki then attacks him and stated that it's obvious that he is devastated, but wonders what's so good about vengeance, and would it make him feel better. Ittoki wonders what Koga tries to accomplish, but Suzaku stated he didn't know and that his father was killed for opposing Kaido, and is sure that his father isn't wrong. Ittoki asks him why he then continues to fight and Suzaku explains it's all he had now. Suzaku went home and looked at a picture frame with his father, and feeling something on the back, he checked behind the picture and found a flash card. On it, he saw security recordings of Kishi and Kaido talking. Kishi wondered why Kaido made something so dreadful, and noted that his path leads to destruction and ruin. Kaido stated his ideal was the same as Kishinmaru's, a world at peace with no ninjas, but he wanted to kill all ninjas and rule the country from the shadows with the Asuras. Kishi told him that there was still time to stop, but Kaido stated he didn't understand him, as he was blessed and loved, but Kaido was only given pain. A ninja then came and killed Kishi from behind, with Kaido saying that he would be the last ninja. Kozo gave Ittoki a letter from Kaido, who wanted the secret core, and Iga vacated without condition. As Kozo considered this a declaration of war, he wanted Ittoki to take action, but Ittoki didn't yet want to make a decision that would lead to many deaths. Ittoki visited his mother's altar and spoke to her, wondering if they would have ever had a normal life as they once talked about it. He told her that he wanted to protect the things she wanted to protect, but also there were other things he wanted to protect. He had made up his mind and intended to do things his own way, so he turned towards Takasada and asked him to help him accomplish this. Ittoki held another meeting with the whole village to inform them that in reply to Koga's letter, he had decided to give the secret ninja core to them in exchange that they would let Iga live peacefully, and there would be no further violence. The people were shocked hearing this, and asked if he was trying to surrender, but Ittoki was just trying to reach an agreement that would be the best for the village. However, the villagers felt that handing over the secret ninja core under any circumstance was out of question, as it would sully the sole principle of being an Iga ninja, but Ittoki refused to change his decision no matter what they said, and even Takasada abided by his decision. He tried to put some sense into them, saying that in a fight against Koga and their machines, their destruction was inevitable, but the villagers felt like dying was still the better option than handing over the core to them. When all of them wouldn't just shut up, Ittoki ordered the people to leave if they didn't agree with him, but believed that they would understand his logic when their mind would cool down. At NSC, Juzen presented Iga's request for reconciliation to everyone, and said that the Iga chief had asked the NSC to serve as witnesses for this peace treaty. Shioni felt like Koga still must be arrested, as they weren't even trying to hide their atrocities. But Juzen told her that there was no evidence, as all the ninjas in the destroyed villages were killed or missing, and the only proof they had was their attack on Iga. In the agreement, Iga had promised not to pursue charges on Koga, and to provide them with the secret ninja core. In return, Koga would pay for the damages they caused, and both sides would promise complete peace towards each other, but in case a violation happened, the NSC would step in. Shioni felt like all of this wasn't according to justice, but Juzen reminded her that their job was to ensure peace, and they would make sure that in the future, Koga wouldn't put the ninja core to military use. At Koga headquarters, Enji explained the whole proposal to Kaido, and felt frustrated that they weren't allowed to put the secret ninja core to military use, so he suggested that they shouldn't agree with it. Kaido thought that it wouldn't be wise to mess with NSC, so he told everyone to postpone their reply, and used that time to attack Iga to obtain the core. Later on, Shinobi visited Ittoki to inform him that no reply came from Koga, and said that they were also refusing talks with NSC, so a peace negotiation was unlikely. She apologized for the NSC's failure to protect them, but Takasada told her that they were all just doing their job, and before she left, Ittoki asked to consult something with her. Meanwhile, Kairi visited the Seiga village to look for Ryoko, but the whole village was destroyed, and there was no one there. However, she noticed some light coming from a basement, and when she went downstairs to check it out, she saw her working by herself. Ryoko was trying to shoulder the responsibilities of the whole village on herself, as ninja tool construction and maintenance was Seiga's village job, and even if nobody was there, she felt that she needed to be strong and do the job. When she broke down in tears, Ryoko told her that despite everything that happened to her, she was still trying to fulfill her duty, while on the other hand, she wasn't able to do that. She told Ryoko that her father had died, but she wasn't sad one bit, as she hated him because she trained her to lie and betray everyone to ensure her village's survival. She thought that it was poetic, as despite everything he did, he was still betrayed by Koga and died. After saying this, she confessed that she was acting as Koga's spy, and she had a hand in Yumi's death and in what happened to Iga village, as she informed Koga that Takasada wasn't present in the village. Despite all the love she received, she betrayed everyone and hated herself for that, so Ryoko told her that she was still her dearest friend, and even though she lied to everyone all this time, she was telling the truth right now, and her tears acted as a proof of her honesty. Both of them hugged each other, and at night, Suzaku called Kaido to tell him that he had found the video file that showed his crime, and said that he was willing to turn the file over to him to show that he was loyal. So Kaido told him that he would send someone over to retrieve it from her, and offered him to should join the assault on Iga. On the next day, the Iga villagers came to a conclusion that the peace treaty with Koga wasn't the way to go, and Kozo asked Ittoki to renounce his authority as the chief, as the burden of this role was too much for him. And from now on, the village had decided that they won't appoint a new chief, and would protect Iga together from now on. However, Ittoki refused to give up the last thing that his mother had entrusted to him, and threatened to expel anyone who would defy him. At night, the Koga ninjas invade Suzaku's home, so they could kill him and get the file, but he killed all of them, and made a soldier reveal that the attack on Iga would happen tomorrow. Kiri visited Iga village the next day, and wanted to confess to Ittoki, but Takasada told her to give him the message, as the chief was busy. Takasada already knew that she was acting as a spy, and told her that the true traitor was someone else. She blew up the charging station, so it made everything even in Takasada's eyes. The Iga villagers planned a coup d'etat to capture Ittoki, obtain the secret ninja core, and planned it when Takasada wasn't present. When Kaido learned about this, he thought that this and Takasada's absence was the perfect chance for them to attack. Kozo told everyone to not leave their posts, but Riaya was caught by him when she tried to steal some documents. When she attacked him, Kozo knocked her down, and it was revealed that she was the true traitor that Takasada was talking about. Earlier, Ittoki told Kozo that it wasn't Kusetsu that killed Yumi, but a traitor in Iga, so he was threatening everyone with expulsion to buy the time to reveal the traitor, and asked him to put an act, as everyone in the village trusted him. When Kozo asked Riaya why she did all this, she said that the poor and weak Iga village hadn't done anything for her, and even took her husband away from her. So when Kaido offered to save her husband, she decided to become a traitor. She then took her own life with a drug she had in her mouth, and the villagers took her body away. It had become clear to Ittoki that Kaido's true object was to exterminate all ninjas, and when Takasada visited Suzaku at night, he gave him the file that revealed that Kaido was the one who killed Kishi. Through a letter, Ittoki informed the villagers to run when Koga would attack them, as long as they were alive, the Iga village would live one. By doing all this, and forcing Koga to attack them, Ittoki had planned to invade Koga, as their defenses would be weak. Ittoki told him Kaido would still have formidable security at Koga's headquarters, but Ittoki planned to use the secret ninja core to break through, as he didn't want anyone to get hurt, and the only way he could do that was to force a peace negotiation. Even though he wanted to go alone, Takasada and Kusetsu went him, and ignored his orders, saying that they had cut ties with Iga, and there was no reason for them to follow his orders anymore. Earlier, Ittoki told Kusetsu that Yumi's greatest joy came from seeing what her kids would do with their lives, and asked her if that wasn't enough of a reason for her to live on. When he left, Takasada told her to make sure that the Iga ninjas successfully escape, and gave her a device that would break the chip in her head. At Koga, Enji informed Kita that they would begin the assault on Iga at midnight, and it would be settled within 30 minutes. When Ittoki and the others entered the building, the receptionist secretly issued an alarm, and the assault on Iga began at the same time, with Kozo telling the Iga ninjas to stay alive and protect Iga at all costs. As Ittoki and the others were fighting the Koga forces, Ryoko and Kairi joined the battle as well, and the latter apologized to Ittoki for deceiving him and said that she came here to make amends. They told the three to move forward while they would take care of the forces here, when the path in front of them was blocked by ninjas and a bunch of Asura robots. Ittoki used the powers of the secret ninja corps to defeat all robots in an instant. But using that much caused a toll on his body, and the enemy ninjas used this opportunity to attack him. However, Kusetsu protected him, and they both moved forward, while Takasada battled the enemies there alone. They came across Himura and Enji, but Suzaku signaled them to move forward while he would battle with them. When they reached Kaido's room, Ittoki offered the secret ninja corps to him in return that he would make no moves on other villages, destroy all of his mechanical ninjas, and admit to his crimes, but he refused instantly, and said that Ittoki didn't have the balls to kill him anyways, and all he had to do was wait while his forces would destroy the Iga village. Hearing this, Ittoki asked why he was doing all this and had to kill his mother. He thought that maybe he was trying to make the world a better place in his own way by making sure that no one had to endure the same fate as him, as his fate was already decided when he was born in a ninja family, and wondered if he was a kind person deep inside. Meanwhile, Suzaku held Himura hostage, and asked the two of them what would happen if the Asura would kill every ninja. Enji answered that they would stay on the top of the food chain like as well, and there was no place in that world for weak people like him and his father ban. As he was talking, Himura stabbed him in the guts, and he was forced back, but despite that, his will was stronger than ever, and he vowed to remake Koga in Kishi's image. Kaido told Ittoki that he was trying to bring out a part inside him that didn't even exist, and said that the reason he killed his mother was because she was in his way, and he wanted to kill all ninjas just because he didn't like them. Unlike Ittoki, who thought that there was a grand reason about why everything happened, Kaido just believed in doing what he wanted to do, and said that Yumi was just a bug to him that he squashed with his hands. Hearing this, Ittoki got angry and almost charged at him, but Kusetsu stopped him, and he revealed that he was recording his response, so the NSC would have evidence to go after Koga. When he met with Shioni a few days before, he offered to get the evidence against Koga in return that she would turn a blind eye towards him. With the evidence in their hand, the NSC forces stormed the Koga headquarters, and when Ittoki and Kusetsu were about to leave, Kaido pulled out a f***ing shotgun and shot them. Kusetsu managed to block it, but despite that, she was knocked to the ground, and Kaido kept attacking Ittoki relentlessly. He told him to just accept his death, but Ittoki charged at him with the powers of the secret ninja corps. However, Kaido was still turning out to be too much for him to handle, but the tides turned when Kusetsu grabbed him from behind, and Ittoki slashed his metal suit in the chest. After Kaido yeeted her away, Ittoki attacked him again, but he blocked his blade by letting his hand get pierced and pushed him away. The two exchanged blows with each other until both of their fists clashed, and the whole room shook because of their tremendous power. Ittoki managed to blow his whole arm away with the power of the secret ninja corps, and threw him to the wall after breaking every rib he had. Meanwhile, Kusetsu had defeated Enji and Himura, and was slowly moving towards Kaido despite being injured, so Takasada asked him to stay put, as the NSC would soon reach him, and moved forward himself. Even with a sword pointed at his face, Kaido stayed like the person he was, and said that Ittoki was so merciful that he couldn't even kill his parents' killer, while he was so merciless that he would even kill an infant. When he tried to blame his poor upbringing for his mentality, Ittoki told him that he was just trying to act like a victim, and said that a man has to tough it out no matter what unfairness he faces and what the world makes him go through. Sparing Kaido's life, Ittoki helped Kusetsu get up and was about to leave, but Kaido managed to grab his shotgun and shot them. However, Takasada blocked his attack and killed him, telling Shioni that he did this on his own with no connection to Iga before running away. Even though she knew he wasn't at fault here, she still reported that Takasada was a wanted fugitive. Going away from the headquarters, Ittoki asked Kusetsu what she wanted to do with her life now. She said that she was free for the first time and could do whatever she wanted. A few days after everything that happened, Kozo told Shioni that they were maintaining a functional relationship with Koga, and said that he had no contact with Takasada after he killed Kaido, but he still felt like he was protecting them from the shadows. He asked if she was still going to punish him, so Shioni told him that she would do what's right. Ryoko became a full-time ninja tool constructor and repairer, while Heir became an actress because she was good at lying and had decided to lie to make others happy. Suzaku became the chief of Koga, and with a smile on her face for the first time, she talked to Yumi's grave and called her mother. At the train station, a kid almost fell on the train tracks trying to grab his toy, but Ittoki saved him at the last second. The kid asked if he was a ninja, so he told him that there was no such thing in the world like that. Set your heart ablaze, go beyond your limits, and watch this next video.